India is at a critical crossroads in its history, one of those rare moments where a country must decide who it really is and where it truly wants to go. The old world order is collapsing fast, the United States fast-tracking its collapse in real time, and does not care about anyone or anything now. Trump's return in 2025 brought a new wave of tariffs, supply chain chaos, and open economic warfare, even against so-called allies like India. And unlike previous eras, these aren't casual policy shifts. The US has literally stopped pretending and is trying to slave around all of its allies and trading partners. These are structural changes that are redrawing the rules of international trade, partnership, and survival. India is no longer in a world where it can simply coast on potential. It has to act, and it has to do so with vision. But does Modi have boldness, and does he have the decisiveness? Meanwhile, Europe is fading into irrelevance, bogged down by aging populations, stagnant growth, weak leadership, and internal fragmentation. The EU is politically divided, economically stagnant, and strategically confused. Germany's Vice-Chancellor Robert Habeck admitted in April 2025 that the energy crisis has pushed Berlin into a permanent state of industrial fragility. France, under Macron's increasingly unpopular presidency, is sliding into domestic unrest. Italy's government has collapsed twice in the last 4 years. The EU's Green Deal, once seen as visionary, is now being blamed for crippling industries during an inflationary spiral. Europe is no longer the center of global economic gravity. It's a fragile continent struggling to stay relevant. For India, this should be a signal to look east, not west. But instead, Delhi remains caught in limbo. Despite Narendra Modi's diplomatic theatrics and PR-heavy foreign visits, India hasn't decisively shifted in any direction. The EU-India Free Trade Agreement has been in negotiation since 2007. 18 years later, there's still no deal. Meanwhile, EU leaders like Ursula von der Leyen continue to criticize India on human rights, caste discrimination, and carbon emissions, offering little in return except empty promises and moralistic lectures. Europe keeps insisting on climate conditions while ignoring India's need for infrastructure and energy. All the while, Asia is offering ports, pipelines, digital corridors, and real growth opportunities. But India continues to act as if the West is still the center of power. It isn't. And yet, instead of leading, India is hesitating. It's trying to play both sides, flirting with the West through the Quad Alliance and defense drills like the Malabar exercise, while simultaneously buying over $50 billion in discounted oil from Russia and quietly avoiding real engagement with China. This balancing act may have worked during the Cold War, but today it is being viewed by both sides as indecision, not diplomacy. When U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth visited New Delhi in June 2025, he demanded India join in condemning China's actions in the Taiwan Strait. India refused. The result? The U.S. postponed several semiconductor supply deals and removed India from select export priority channels. Please take a moment to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. The problem is that India still sees this fence-sitting as strength, as if it can somehow play global powers off one another indefinitely. But Beijing and Washington have both grown tired of this. In Beijing, Chinese foreign policy analysts from Tsinghua University and the PLA's think tank have publicly dismissed India as a talking power, not a shaping power. In Washington, the State Department has quietly reassigned key South Asia analysts to other portfolios, signaling reduced strategic interest. Strategic ambiguity is no longer being interpreted as independence. It's being seen as strategic impotence. India clings to its old self-image as the world's largest democracy and the voice of the non-aligned. But today's world doesn't reward fence-sitters. It rewards those who act decisively. Brazil joined BRICS plus expansion talks in Rio de Janeiro. Indonesia signed on to China's digital Silk Road. Even Saudi Arabia and Egypt are inching closer to permanent Eurasian trade integration. These countries see the future and are placing bets accordingly. India is still trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing no one. The window to lead is open, but not for long. At the 2025 SCO summit in Astana, India awkwardly sat on the sidelines as China and Russia launched new Eurasian financial settlement platforms and a BRICS sovereign bond clearing mechanism. No Indian participation, no veto, just observation. And when Kazakh President Tokayev spoke about the Asian century, India wasn't mentioned once. The message was clear: if you don't show up, you'll be left out. And this new world order won't wait for you to catch up. Worse still, Washington continues to treat India like a pawn, not a partner. It praises India's democracy on stages and in interviews, but behind closed doors, it applies pressure, demands concessions, and throws Delhi under the bus the moment it's convenient. In March 2025, the U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai abruptly canceled a scheduled bilateral trade meeting with India after Delhi refused to join Washington's sanctions against Iran. A month later, the U.S. resumed back-channel talks with Pakistan on regional stability, without even informing India. The truth is harsh. The U.S. doesn't respect India. It uses it. And it expects Delhi to take hits while doing America's bidding in Asia. The so-called Indo-Pacific Partnership is revealing its true nature. America supplies weapons, but not trust. It offers cooperation, but with strings attached. India is expected to follow U.S. interests, even when they contradict its own. And when India asserts independence, by buying Russian oil or rejecting U.S. pressure, it's treated with suspicion and scorn. After India abstained from voting on a U.S.-led resolution condemning Chinese cyber operations in April 2025, Washington suspended intelligence sharing protocols for a month. This isn't partnership, it's manipulation. India, with its billion-strong population, a growing military budget, and increasing technological prowess, should never accept being anyone's backup plan. But the longer it plays by Washington's script, the more it looks like it already has. And India, with its billion-strong population and nuclear arsenal, should never accept being anyone's backup plan. And still, India's ego is holding it back. The obsession with one-upping China, with defending the Himalayan border at all costs, with proving superiority in South Asia, it's costing Delhi real opportunities. China's dominance in infrastructure, logistics, and supply chain control is not a threat to be feared. It's a wave to be ridden. The truth is, China doesn't need India, but India could benefit enormously from cooperation with China if it had the political maturity to see beyond past wounds and focus on long-term national interest. From energy grids to railway integration to digital currency systems, China is already shaping the future of Asia. India has a choice: resist and isolate itself, or engage and influence. A working relationship with China doesn't mean surrender, it means access to a new economic reality, one where Indian manufacturing, agriculture, and finance could integrate into a system that's moving faster than anything the West is offering. Delhi needs to move past chest-thumping nationalism and ask the real question: what actually serves Indian prosperity? Russia sees the writing on the wall. Moscow has pivoted eastward in every sense: energy, defense, banking, logistics. But unlike the US, Russia still sees India as a strategic equal. It continues to offer defense co-production, energy trading in rupees, and deeper bilateral frameworks. Putin's recent overtures aren't just symbolic. They reflect a shift in how Russia views the coming world order, with India as a possible co-architect, not just a participant. But India hasn't committed. It continues to flirt with the West, even as the US raises tariffs and slows investment. If India misses this opportunity to anchor itself within the emerging Eurasian-Asian framework, it won't just be left behind. It may find itself locked out. China and Russia are building a system that will function regardless of whether India joins. But if India waits too long, its negotiating power will disappear. The time for strategic ambiguity is over. Trump's 2025 tariffs were the wake-up call that Delhi tried to ignore. Indian steel, pharmaceuticals, auto components, and textiles, entire sectors were suddenly slapped with new U.S. trade barriers. And instead of rallying to defend Indian exports, the U.S. government shrugged. It was a chilling reminder: America's economic loyalty ends the second it's inconvenient. U.S. companies began scaling back operations in India, looking towards Southeast Asia or reshoring to Mexico. All those promises about India being the next China? Gone. Meanwhile, friends-whoring, the West's plan to build supply chains in allied countries, is turning into a chaotic mess. India was supposed to benefit. Instead, it's watching Vietnam, Indonesia, and even Bangladesh race ahead. Investors now see India as unpredictable, burdened by bureaucracy, and overhyped. The message is clear: the West isn't India's safety net. It never was. And Europe, even worse. The EU is shrinking in relevance with each passing year. Germany is struggling to stabilize its economy post-Russia sanctions. France is focused inward. Italy, Spain, and others are politically unstable. India-EU trade talks have dragged on for over a decade with little to show. Europe wants to talk climate goals and labor standards while ignoring infrastructure, energy, and manufacturing, the very things India actually needs. There's no future with a declining partner. Europe wants to dictate terms, not share growth. It offers lectures, not railways. And India can't afford to waste another decade chasing deals that will never materialize. The strategic value just isn't there anymore. The truth is unavoidable. Time is running out. The world is moving fast, and India's indecision is becoming its greatest liability. If Delhi continues to straddle the fence, trying to keep one foot in the west and the other in the emerging east, it risks falling between both. The multipolar world isn't coming, it's already here. And if India doesn't pick its lane, someone else will pick it for them. The fastest path to relevance, growth, and global power is not through Washington or Brussels, it's through alignment with the forces shaping the new century: Beijing, Moscow, BRICS+, and Asia's rising economies. That doesn't mean submission, it means strategic cooperation. It means knowing where the future lies and moving toward it while India still has leverage. If India gets this right, it could become the central bridge between the East and the global South, a rising giant that helps shape the new world order. But if it lets pride and indecision hold it back, it may be left watching from the sidelines. If there was ever a moment in a country's timeline to act decisively, it would be now. It's a defining moment in Indian history, and history rarely offers second chances. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content.